We are back with the next news video, and we got some updates on New Japan's Collision in Philadelphia card, and an update on Jeff Hardy. But first, an update on Matt Riddle, as Riddle made his WWE return last week on the Raw after Mania. Riddle had been gone since, I believe, the late fall. I want to say he'd been gone since the late fall. And he basically hinted at the fact that he is going to change his character again and go more along the route of a serious Matt Riddle as opposed to a joking stoner type that he was before he got injured. Which I think it is. I mean, I loved Stoner Riddle, but the fact of the matter is, I also think that Riddle playing the serious person, the more like I can beat your ass and I'm gonna do it, that's better. That would be better for him, because it's also the fact that I think that the stoner type character may have ran its course, and giving him more of a serious, makeover, or character makeover would not be the worst thing in the world for Matt Riddle, especially at this point. I think that would be ideal, and it would allow him to continue to grow as a character and allow him to grow as a performer, as opposed to just giving the expectation that he's going to go back to how things were and not really be anything more than a bit of not really be anything more than a bit of comedic relief, which I think he can be so much more than a bit of comedic relief. Speaking of WWE, though, there have been rumors about Bayley for the last couple of months, or for the last couple of weeks since WrestleMania, and the build-up to WrestleMania, where there may have been hints that Bayley was going to leave. The fact of the matter is, though, it does not seem that way. It seems more likely that, unfortunately, Damage Control could be going their separate ways. I do hope that if Damage Control does go their separate ways, that WWE keeps the door open for Damage Control to actually do a feud, or that they keep the door open for Dakota Kai and Io Sky to be a tag team, because they could use the depth in the tag team division. But also, I really do hope that WWE sees the potential that I see in Dakota Kai and Io Sky. I'm not saying that Bayley does not have potential, because at this point I think Bayley has hit most of her potential, but she could be a lot more. And I think WWE needs to learn that their women can do a lot more, because Sasha Banks, for example, aka Mercedes Moné, is proving how much more she could have been in WWE as a member of the New Japan roster, helping build their women's division. Dakota Kai and Io Sky can give more to the main roster than they have thus far. And, I mean, that's one thing that I've seen since Dakota came back is, I feel like in NXT, she left a lot on the table as far as her potential. And same with Io Sky. So I do hope that both those women can get to show their potential, because from what I've seen, they got a lot more to give than what they have. So hopefully a breakup of Damage Control will allow for everyone to fulfill their potential. That's it. But now we shift over to our friend and, one of our favorites, and that is Jeff Hardy. Jeff has been missing from programming for a while for reasons, and there have been rumors of his return, but Matt Hardy basically went on record on the Isaiah Cassidy's podcast, and explained that Jeff recently had eye surgery to repair damage from, basically years of physicality and, just miles and miles and miles on the body, explaining that after this surgery, it is extremely possible that Jeff may make an AEW return. But I think I speak for a lot of people when I say that if Jeff makes a return, that's awesome, but only if Jeff is able to be on the road again. And only if Jeff listens to everyone else that cares about him and everybody else that wants the best for him, and honestly scales back his in-ring style. At his age, he should not be doing half the shit that he did in his last run, and he should be changing his in-ring style to do a more safer style and not wrestling the same style that people expected of him 20 years ago. Because honest to God, nobody expects him to do the crazy shit anymore. And if anybody expects him to do the crazy shit still, then they don't realize that he's in his 40s now with a family. Jeff Hardy should not be the Jeff Hardy of 20 years ago anymore, because he's in his 40s and he shouldn't be expected to do that anymore. He should not be expected to do that anymore. What he should be expected to do is just wrestle. Be in the ring with his brother and wrestle. Because can you imagine the idea of FTR versus the Hardys? You know, can you imagine FTR versus the Hardys? Can you imagine, you know, the Acclaimed versus the Hardys, the Bucks versus the Hardys? Just the Hardys getting 1 year, one proper year to be in the tag team division in AEW and do the run that they wanted to do the last time. Just one more time. A run at the top of the division. A run at the top. And just be the Hardys one last time and go out on their terms. If Jeff is able to go out on his terms, he most definitely should be able to get that opportunity. If he's capable, if he's able, and he's healthy, and he can mentally keep himself sustained, then there is absolutely no reason, in my opinion, that Jeff Hardy should not get one more chance to go out on his terms. But that is if Jeff can handle it. If Jeff can handle it, then Jeff should have that opportunity. And only Jeff knows that if Jeff can handle it. But if Jeff can't handle it, if Jeff can't sustain being on the road, if he thinks he has to be the Jeff Hardy of 20 years ago and do the crazy stuff still, then he should not come back and he should leave well enough alone. But then again, if he wants to come back and undo the one mistake that he made at to end his last run or his first run at AEW, if he wants to come back and undo that, I understand. But the other point is that even if he wants to come back and undo that, he doesn't need to. Because the one thing that Jeff needs to understand is everybody just wants him to be okay. That's it. Everybody just wants him to be okay. You know, nobody wants him to just come back for the sake of coming back. Everybody just wants him to be okay. You know, that's it. Now we move over to the upcoming Collision in Philadelphia card from New Japan, as Eddie Kingston was pulled from the show for an undisclosed injury, and Orange Cassidy replaced Eddie Kingston on that show. Eddie Kingston replaced him on that show, and Orange Cassidy. And if Orange Cassidy can defeat Buddy Matthews at his upcoming title defense, then Orange Cassidy will defend his AEW International Championship against Gabriel Kidd at Collision in Philadelphia for New Japan. I would have to say props to AEW for allowing him to defend his championship for another, with another company. But It would be interesting. You know, it definitely is interesting. And again, nothing but the best Eddie Kingston. Hope that he can recover and come back 100% from whatever injury he sustained. But also, we got a mini tournament heading into New Japan's big event over the summer. Their biggest event over the summer is Dominion. And it is Lance Archer versus Juice Robinson, Hiroshi Tanahashi, and Will Ospreay, where the winner of that mini tournament, Archer versus Robinson, Tanahashi versus Ospreay, and then the winner of Archer versus Robinson versus the winner of Tanahashi versus Ospreay, and the winner of that match, the winner of this 4-person tournament, will fight Kenny Omega on June 4th at Dominion for the IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship. It is first of all, it's good to see Ospreay back, but also, in my opinion, any member of this 4-person tournament could, in fact, get the victory. It is insane, absolutely, that is the case, that somebody is going, that everybody in a tournament could win, or anybody in the tournament could win, I should say. That anybody in the tournament could win. So props to New Japan for picking the tournament the way they did, but also I kind of would like to see Lance Archer win, because Lance Archer has done so much in AEW, hasn't done much in AEW, so giving New Japan throwing him a bone would not be the worst thing in the world. But also, I think Will Ospreay, because Ospreay Omega rematch. But we gotta wait and see what happens. Let me know down in the comment section below your guesses of this from this tournament. But with that being said, I will see you in the next video.